Hey guys, what is up? It is Bibzuda7 here again, and welcome to another RuneScape 3 vlog here today. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this week's update and patch notes. We do have a new Ninja Strike this week, number 15, and this one is focusing a little bit around the couple various things with combat, but mainly one of the headlines of it are they updated all of the tooltips for the combat abilities in the game. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that, and just the other patch notes that they've come out with as well. Before jumping into that though, I do want to just give a quick thank you to all of you guys for reaching 4,000 subscribers. I really appreciate all the support I've had recently. So yeah, thank you guys so much for that, and I'll continue making these videos as usual. I should have some new videos coming out that aren't just going to be the weekly vlogs fairly soon. I'm not too sure exactly when I'm going to get started back up on the series, as I'm still getting through the settling in on the new house and everything. But once I've fully settled in and have gotten everything up and running perfectly, I will definitely be back to making different series and other videos outside of the weekly. But yeah, again, thank you so much for 4,000 subscribers. Really appreciate the support. And yeah, I'll keep making the videos as long as you guys continue to enjoy them. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about these combat tooltips. They have updated all of them, and they've gone with a more bulleted approach to them. Actually, let me drag this out of there because it's kind of hard to read because it overlaps my ability bar a little bit. But yeah, you can see basically they changed the format a little bit. They have the idea behind it in the post, but pretty much it has the flavor text for the actual ability, like that just says a powerful attack, blasts the target with a burst of magical energy. These things don't really mean anything, but they're just sort of like, you know, a flavor text, what the ability is about in the game world. And then it has a bulleted list of what the ability actually does. So you can see rack 18% to 94% ability damage. And this is a big thing that's changed because a lot of these abilities before would have a flat percentage number, and usually that was not the damage, because obviously we all know damage in the game is RNG. Obviously there's a roll on how much damage you deal when you actually successfully hit. So the flat percentages that used to be there before didn't really make much sense because it was obviously a range and it just didn't say that. So it's good that they've actually normalized that a little bit. They've also changed it from saying things like active spell damage or weapon damage, and now it all just says ability damage, which is a bit more consistent and clear. Like, look at the range on Asphyxiate here, 150% to 752%. I assume that means, like, if you don't, well, 400, yeah. That probably means if you cancel it early, you only get, like, you only do one hit, you'll only get 150%-ish or whatever, but I'm not 100% sure. You can see they've also refined the timing in these a bit. They have decimals now, 4.2 seconds, 3.6 seconds, because they obviously operate around game ticks, and those are 0.6 seconds each. So it's nice to be more precise on how long these things actually last. 1.2 seconds stun there. And you might see these little icons. I can't actually hover over it because I would have to go off of the tooltip, or maybe no. So basically next to the cooldown time, which on this is 3 seconds, you can see that thing that's like a yellow circle with an arrow pointing to it. And that basically denotes what the ability does or who it affects. So you can see this one, basically that means it affects whatever you're targeting. And that's what it's going to be for all these combat abilities. But then you can see something like this, Dragon Breath, is area of effect, and that's what the area of effect symbol looks like. So that's actually a little bit different. And then something like Surge, which is something you use, you can see it just has a picture of like a person and then arrows pointing to the person because it affects yourself. And that's, I think those are the only three. You can see this one, it says damage over time, specifies that there, but doesn't actually have a different icon. Oh, I guess the chain abilities have a separate icon as well, even though, that's weird because I guess I can't think of any other chaining abilities. There's like chain and ricochet, right? As far as unless I'm not remembering it correctly, but oh, I guess they put that for Corruption Blast as well, which makes sense, I guess. So that's that. What about Tsunami? That says AoE. Sunshine says AoE. Yeah, I guess it is, but it's also like a buff for yourself. But yeah, they've basically done this for every ability in the game. Now, I've seen on Reddit a bit that some of these might not be exactly right still, but either way, it's a step in the right direction, and they can definitely update this more easily now that they've got a consistent format for it, and they can make it, actually be correct a lot more without, as much effort. So I'm glad to see they went through and did that. It's been a problem for a while that most of us have really stopped caring about because we know at this point which abilities do what and which are best to use. But for someone who's like a new player, before this update, reading over these abilities would have been a lot more confusing as to what they do because sometimes what it said wasn't even true. So yeah, that's the main thing that they added in their opinion. But there were a couple of other pretty big things. One of them being with the Asylum Surgeon's Ring. Now, apparently based on what I saw on Reddit, not everybody even knew that the Asylum Surgeon's Ring had this passive effect, but you can read it right here. There is a 10% chance to prevent adrenaline loss when you use a threshold ability, and also a 40% chance to save a quarter of a special attack's base cost. Now, a lot of people that knew this did exist might not have known that it actually does have a cooldown, and that cooldown is 30 seconds. And previously, you would have had no way of knowing how long you had left on the cooldown unless you kept track of it in your head. But now there is a buff icon for it. So I'm going to try and get it to activate. As it said, it is only a 10% chance. So hopefully we can get it before I have to use too many thresholds here. But that's going to be really nice. It kind of encourages a little bit of people might want to use it as a switch item for, like, you wear your Ring of Death when your Asylum Surgeon Ring is on cooldown. You switch back to the Asylum Surgeon's Ring just to get that proc effect of saving your 15% adrenaline. But then the question comes in as well, is like, are you really going to be able to adapt properly to make much use of that effect? And as you can see, your ring glows brightly, and you can see the cooldown starting right here. So yeah, a very, very nice addition, despite the fact that, it's not going to be massive for most people, I wouldn't expect, but someone who really, really wants to try optimizing stuff might find that very helpful. And even if you're not trying to do that, it'll just be nice to know when you can get that effect to happen again, if it's something you are hoping to have occur or whatever. So that's a nice little thing there for the Asylum Surgeon's Ring. There's also one for the Relentless Invention perk, which is a similar effect for saving adrenaline. Which I wasn't sure what the cooldown was on that, but that'll be on your debuff bar as well. There is a new recipe which allows you to turn enhanced replenishment potions into adrenaline renewals, which is nice because of probably quite a few people had a lot of the enhanced replenishments when they used to be the best. And now that the adrenaline renewals are the best, they might have been stuck with those. But you can now just upgrade from those directly. Thankfully, I didn't have too many, but still, I can turn these 35 into renewals whenever I'd feel like it. So that is a nice thing as well. And then this one was also pretty big, in my opinion, as someone who has done quite a bit of Solok. I had the issue of when I die, my grimoire will still be active, and I'll forget to turn it off because the grimoire in Solok doesn't actually degrade while you're in there. But of course, when you're outside, it does start to degrade, and that's not ideal. But now, even if you are dying with a Ring of Death, your pocket slot items, basically your god books or your grimoire, will toggle off automatically on death, even if it is with Ring of Death. So that's a nice convenience thing. That was a bit annoying for me, and I'm sure most people will appreciate that change who do use these items, which they are pretty. How much are the pages now? I haven't actually. Oh my God, they're over 5 mil. Jesus, man, that is crazy. Can't believe how expensive they are. My goodness, that is so much. Is that ever even worth using? I don't even know. But next thing they did was something people have been asking for since the release of the Alchemical Hydrix, and that is basically to be able to recolor your Essence of Finality amulets. So since you maybe want to have more than one of these things, mainly for, having a Stadius Warhammer and then maybe some other special attack on a different amulet, you can now recolor these things using simple, of any dyes that you have in the game. So Not really something I want to do right this second, but basically you just take any die, you can use it on it and change its color, so you can have them on different presets or have more than one on a preset and not have them conflicting with each other in any way. So glad to see that they added that as well, as people were really hoping to have that. And you can also take the die off by using a cleaning cloth, so you can also revert it back to the normal version should you want to do so. And that is everything they had listed here on the main part of the update page. I'm just quickly trying to scroll through the patch notes to see if there was any big changes in there that they didn't add. Usually for these Ninja Strike weeks, they don't tend to have anything too interesting in the patch notes themselves, because the patch notes are usually what consist of the main update stuff. But one thing in here that might be significant, I'm not too sure, but you can now use the Zeros Godsword and Eldritch Crossbow special attacks without having a target, which might be kind of nice. And they also had quite a few things in the engine area, or like in the engine section. They've added a multi-threaded rendering system, which provides a significant performance boost on CPU bottlenecked systems, which is currently supported on Windows only. So that is interesting. I'm not sure how many people have issues running RuneScape nowadays, but if you do have CPU bottleneck issues, then maybe this will help you out. However, there has been apparently some issues with people crashing today because of that. Apparently a lot of people with AMD, I'm not sure if it's AMD graphics cards or AMD CPUs, but some version of an AMD graphics card or CPU that I saw a lot of was having some pretty consistent crashes. I haven't had any today myself, so it seems to be a pretty specific issue. I'm not sure if they've fixed it yet or not, but hopefully that is fixed soon. And yeah, a bunch of different little small things in the engine section that they added in a little later than the normal patch notes, so that was kind of interesting. Let me see, any other items? The penguins from Hide and Seek have their Christmas models added, which I guess people are probably happy with. Stackable items can now be crafted even if there's no empty spaces in your backpack. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but it sounds like something that should have been that way before and was probably annoying people for a while, and it's finally fixed. But yeah, I think that is pretty much it, guys, for this week. Some pretty cool things there. I definitely think they're in the right direction with those combat tooltips. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks they fix any other issues that there are within them and make them as, as correct as they possibly can be. And the Essence of Finality recolors are pretty good, and having more stuff available to you on the debuff bar, things like the Asylum Surgeon's Ring and Relentless cooldowns are nice to have as well, so you have as much information as you might need for doing those high-level PvM situations. Also, if you guys did miss it, I think the RuneScape Twitter is where it originated, but they tweeted out a little teaser that they are going to be revealing more info about the new boss tomorrow on their live stream. So if there's anything significant revealed there, like the drops or anything like that, I'll be sure to make a video discussing that as well. It has been officially confirmed that the boss is going to be Raksha, which is basically what was already revealed when Orthan came out, as there was a whole little story about Raksha, the dinosaur thing, that was in a lot of the lore pages. So I'm really looking forward to this new boss release. I'll, of course, be making several videos on it on the day it comes out, hoping to get some of those new drops right away. I'm really curious to see what they do end up giving it as drops. I feel like there has to be something to improve Mage a little bit, because in my opinion, Mage is currently one of the weaker styles at this point, considering Eldritch Crossbow, but Criminal Bolts and things like that make range really good, and then Melee has always just been the better style in terms of raw DPS output because of Zerk plus ZGS spec. But again, we'll have to see. I'll be covering any info they do reveal as soon as possible, so looking forward to that. Hope you guys are as well. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you again for 4,000 subscribers, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.